Okay. Taylor,
Liz,
how long ago was our last one?
we did our last podcast almost 3 years ago.
Okay, so you were 24, 23?
24, yes.
And now,
23, 24.
now you're 27. I was pregnant with Cooper. Now he's almost 3.
Crazy.
I know. It's like, I feel like there's times in your life where things are like pretty status quo for long periods of time. And then there's times where like it totally flips upside down in a very short period of time. And that's happened for both of us in a short period of time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I went back and listened to the podcast episode that we did, and it was funny to see the questions you were asking me and that season of life I was in, and just how I talked, how I responded, and just how much I don't know if I want to say grown up, but just how much I've changed in the last 3 years. It was kind of like a little time capsule.
Give me an example of a question that an answer surprised you or you've
So,
changed from.
well, the basis of the episode was, do women your age talk about when you're dating? Do you talk about what you're going to do when you have kids? Am I going to work from home? Am I going to continue to work? Am I going to stop working? So that was really the premise of the episode is, are people your age talking about this kind of thing? And really the answer was no. You just don't think to talk about something like that, especially in the earlier stages of dating. You don't want to scare the guy off and be like, so when we have kids, am I going to work from home? Are you going to be the breadwinner? It's just not really something that you talk about. But then I will say, after that episode, my mindset shifted, and it wasn't like I went on a date the next week and I started having those conversations, but I was just more mindful about it. And then when I met Nick, my now fiance, it was like our third or fourth date, and I felt really comfortable with him to talk about the future. And it was just cool to have that conversation, because we didn't figure everything out right then and there, but it was nice just to open the conversation up and plan for the future with that person.
So give me some examples, if you don't care, it's kind of personal,
Yeah.
of like in the beginning, what kind of things were you talking about with him? And were you nervous to like bring them up, or you felt comfortable enough that it was fine?
I wasn't nervous to bring them up, and I think that was a good sign that he was my person, just because I felt so comfortable talking about it. But I had you literally in the back of my head, like, "Bring it up, Taylor, bring it up."
I love that.
And so I just remember it was maybe a few months into dating, and I was like, let's just play a little look into the future, and, let's say we have kids one day. Do you think I should be a stay-at-home mom? Do you think I should work from home? Do you think I should continue to work? And his response was, we were kind of just like talking about different scenarios. Like, his mom is now retired and she's begging for grandkids. Like, his mom would come and help us. And he he basically told me, you don't have to stop working if you don't want to. If you did, I would support that. We would, of course, have to change our lifestyle, because we'd be going from 2 incomes to 1 income. Um, so it was mainly just the thing of, we would have a lifestyle change if you wanted to stop working, but if you do want to continue working, it's going to be really stressful, but we do have help from family that we can rely on. So I would say, I don't think I have a whole perfect plan laid out, but one day in the future, a few years from now, or whenever that happens, I think my plan would be to continue working, because I just can't, my brain can't fathom not working. I'm sure when I actually do have kids, my mindset will shift, because it's just one of those things you can't really understand until you're in it. But I would continue working, have his mom and my mom come help, hire a great nanny if, you know, if the right person comes along. Um, and if that doesn't work, I would just have to make a decision to just let it go, and be a full-time mom. Um, which is kind of scary to think about, but we'll see what happens. I don't have a perfect plan, but it's nice that we're talking about it, and we're we're starting to make some type of plan, if that makes sense. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Did I just go on a
I'm
tangent?
so proud of you because I think that you don't have to have a perfect plan because guess what? It's gonna get destroyed anyways. Like, our plans never go to plan anyways. But it's good that you're at least thinking about it. Like, I didn't think about it. We didn't talk about it, period. Like, it was never even a discussion. And I feel like that's how most women of our generation and age are. We haven't even considered like what we would want it to look like or financially what would have to happen. So like the fact that you're talking about it is it's a starting point. That's good. Where
Yeah.
you need to be. Okay, so first question, I've got a lot of questions based off of that response. Do you think he had ever thought about it before when you brought it up or was he just like, "Huh.
No.
Yeah, right."
No, I don't think really any guys think about it because they don't have to.
Mhm.
So it's just I mean, it's just the way the world is. That's how our society is, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just men are typically the ones that they kinda just go about their life. They continue to work, and it's like the woman's gotta figure it out, which I'm not dissing men or anything like that. It's just that's the way it's always been. So I don't think guys really think about it that much, but I was impressed with how he answered. I was like, "Have you actually been thinking about it?" Because that was a
Mm,
pretty good response of what your plan would be.
I think I completely agree. It's the guys aren't the ones, like, actually physically having the baby, and traditionally, males have always been, like, the provider and protector. So, like, the nurturing of the baby and the rearing of the baby primarily falls on the mom, so they don't have to worry about it. They're like, "Well, as long as everyone's provided for, nobody's getting shot at, like, I'm good," like, everything else, she can figure it out. And, I think I've thought a ton about, like, how Luke responded to me when I was, like, melting down and couldn't handle it anymore, and I think what his response was as good of a response as I could have asked for, is he was like, "I want you to do whatever you wanna do, but we can't keep living in chaos." And so I'm really glad that he wasn't like, "You must quit your job," or "You must stay working in the capacity that you're working," because I think both of those responses would have been, like, devastating to me because I loved my job, and I was good at it, and I, like, enjoyed the people I was around. They were like a second, family to me almost, and I also loved being a mom way more than I thought I would because I don't really like kids that much, but I like my own kids, and I wanna kill them a lot too, but, like, I did not think that I would love being a mom. That just was surprising to me, and I also thought, like I don't even know how to say this. I didn't think I would care as much about what was happening when they were little. I don't know why I didn't. I just had never really, like, considered that before. And, the other day, I had a play date with, one of Mac's best friends in class is this sweet little Indian boy. He's so kind and, like, so opposite from Mac, so it's funny that they're, like, good friends, but his mom came over and brought him. We had a play date. And she was telling me how, she's a doctor, her husband's a doctor, but she's gone down to where she's, like, barely even working anymore because they have 2 little kids. And same things that me and all these other moms talk about, the struggles that you have. But what she was saying is that in the Indian culture, the parents, like, essentially live with them.
Oh.
And so I had asked her because she just only brought the older son to the playdate. I was like, "Oh, where's the baby at?" 'Cause I had Cooper with me and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, my mom's watching the baby." And she's like, "That's just what happens, is, like, our parents really step into that role of when my husband and I are working or whatever, or if we're doing whatever else, like, the grandparents are with the other child." And, I thought about that because I was like, I think part of the reason why I felt forced into making a terrible decision to, like, leave my job or not was because my kids were being raised by, like, daycare, and you know how I feel about daycare.
I do.
I understand, I feel like it's a necessary evil, and people hate it when I say that, but the people at daycare, first of all, the ratios are absurd. You know that your child has to compete for attention just to get their diaper changed, like, so they don't even those poor people that are taking care of the kids in daycare, they don't even have time to, like, love your child
Or discipline them.
or discipline them because legally, by law, I can't spank them, and my kids needed to be spanked. But they can't even, like, focus on, like, teaching them because it's literally crowd control and diaper to diaper to diaper to bottle to bottle to bottle to, like, snack to snack to snack, and so there's not it's they are well-intentioned, I believe most of them are. There's just not enough time and resources because taking care of babies is so time intensive. And so I think that, when that lady was talking to me, she was like, she still was barely doing her job, but still doing it like one day a week or something like that. I think it was easier for her to do that because she knew that her child was being watched by her mom and her dad. So her child is still getting like one on one attention. They're being raised with probably the same morals and values that you would want to raise your kid with. I mean, parent relationships are parent relationships, but for the most part, and it's like blood. So they love that child. But I always think about people that are in daycares and stuff. And when you hear these horrible stories about like kids getting abused, I'm like, no shit. I sometimes want to hit my kid, and the only reason I don't is because it's my kid and I love them, and I know, like, I can't do that, but if it was someone else's kid doing that, I'd have to take a lot of smoke breaks, and I would definitely take up smoking.
There's your clickbait right there for the episode.
I mean, well, I seriously, like, if you've ever been around, like, 12 toddlers,
It's taxing.
it is so taxing, and you have to be, like, the most patient, humble, like, kind, empathetic person. And I'm like, God, Cooper, he's just one kid and he is wearing me out right now. And so I don't know. I think that if you know that your kid is in an environment like that, and even if you love the people and you know that they're well intentioned and they are really gifted at like taking care of little kids, it's just not ideal. And so that's why I felt like we were having all the behavioral issues with Mac. They couldn't discipline him the way I wanted him to be disciplined. But also, I was like, he's not getting the attention that he needs either. So I felt like it was a choice between the job and that. And I was just really sad because I wasn't prepared or set up in a way where I could still kind of do my job because I didn't want to leave my job fully. So I think that if you and Nick are like already having those conversations, you will at least be more prepared than I was. A lot more prepared. And you can hopefully, like you've said it already many times, you want to do a nanny as opposed to daycare. And I know you said that your mom worked and you guys had a nanny. And so it's like you saw the value in having one consistent person where the ratio is way smaller, even if you're competing with your siblings. That's a little bit different than like, strangers in daycare. You're already somewhat forming a roadmap of like, this is what ideally I would want it to look like. And that's good. Talking about it.
Yeah. I I remember vividly kind of watching you go from one kid to two kids.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, I know it was still hard with just one kid and working.
Meltdown happens with two.
But then once you said once you had two, it was just you came to your breaking point.
Mhm.
So I feel like with one kid, you're trying to test out the waters, catch your bearings, and it would probably be more manageable, I think, with one kid is at least having some help, his mom or my mom. I just don't know what that looks like with two kids. Am I still working or and I think also with what I do, with what you did, you have to have somebody trained to take your place if you do need to be out. Because I'm assuming once I have a baby, you're probably gonna wanna take at least some time off. I don't think you took any time off, but
I didn't, and
I
that was
think
a
I might need
mistake. I had the laptop in the hospital for 2 of my births.
I remember that, yeah, I
And
remember
one
you
of
telling me
them,
that.
I was in labor, on the ball, 6 or 7 centimeters dilated, doing a prequel.
Yep.
That's absurd. Like, if I think about that, and I remember Luke being like, "I feel like this is not normal, but I probably should keep my mouth shut." Like,
Well,
oh my
you're
god, it was not normal. It was so weird.
you're not the most normal gal. I mean that in the most loving way possible.
I'm not, but,
You're
like, yes, take time off to be with your kids. Don't take your laptop to give birth. Don't do that.
um But I think 'cause I do have someone that I'm training, and he's really good. His name's also Luke. He's gonna be great, and I think when I do reach that time, if I needed to take some time off, it makes me feel better that I have somebody that can cover for me. Not that I'm gonna back off fully, um, but I would have much more stress if there wasn't anybody, 'cause then I think that's how you were. You didn't really have anybody that could step in for
No.
you. So you were forced to be on a medicine ball, typing up a pre-approval letter,
Yes.
giving labor. Um, but I feel like I'm in a good spot. It's definitely not gonna be perfect, but I'm just like you said, I'm glad I'm at least starting to think about it and not just reacting whenever the time comes.
Smart. Okay, so next big thing. Say you do decide, wow, I really like being a mom. I do want to take time off. Do you guys talk about like, hey, we should pay our house off as soon as possible? Like, we should not buy brand new cars, like that kind of stuff? Or is it just kind of like, we'll cross that road when we get there?
No, we've talked about that too. I mean, it would definitely be an adjustment, but we could make it work. And what I love about him, he's actually better with his finances than I am. I'm good with my finances, but he's great at investing, he's great at saving, he has no debt. Like, he actually helped me even get in a better financial
That's
position after we
good.
started dating. So he he's the finance person in the household, and I trust that if I did stop working, he would make it a point to make sure we're in a good spot. Because I don't know if, he might have the same job, he might have a different job, but he's good at not living above his means. And but to answer your question, talked about, paying the house off. I mean, yeah, that would definitely be one of our goals. We don't have any debt other than the house. I feel like I'm on Dave Ramsey right now.
Yeah, you don't have to give me the specifics. I'm just wondering, like, if you have talked about those kind of things. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think a lot of people don't.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that that's like this job has taught me is people buy, and this is really just a sad state of our like country right now. They buy these expensive houses because in Nashville specifically, there aren't cheap houses. Like, not if you're in Franklin or anywhere, Davidson County, Williamson County, the counties you want to be in. And so I've seen so many clients that I have that buy the houses based off the two incomes. And then it's like the mom has to keep working
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't have the family option or not at least for like full-time care. And it's sad for me because I see a lot of women that are just like a slave to the house that they bought. And I don't even think that it ever crossed their mind. Like, once I have kids, I'm maybe not going to want to work or not going to want to work in the capacity that I'm in, or the job that I'm at is not going to allow me to go part time, that kind of stuff. And I think that that's just really sad. So I think it's good you guys are talking about that.
Yeah, and I think you just and I'm talking without experiencing this, but my thought is you have to be willing to change your lifestyle or make a sacrifice. So if it ever did come to the point, we'll sell the house and downsize, like just maybe move outside of, move to the suburbs, go to a area that's less expensive, which there's an opportunity cost there because you're not as close as you'd like to be, but you're now living below your means. So
Mm.
I think that's where, from what I've seen with friends and family that have experienced the same thing, where they feel like they're a slave to the house they bought, is, but are you willing to make a sacrifice?
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to sell the house and downsize or sell the car or whatever? And that's just something that you choose. Do you want to continue to live this lifestyle, but you're stressed all the time? Or do you want to just make the sacrifice, sell the house, or whatever that looks like, so that you now have that weight lifted off your shoulders? So we've definitely talked about that. It would be hard because making sacrifices isn't fun, but I think in the long run, we would be more at peace. I was actually doing a pre-approval the other day for this couple, and it was kinda cool because you and I have seen people that have bought well above their means because your debt ratio would allow you to buy this high, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean you should buy that high. But the couple, we were having the conversation going over their monthly payment. And I remember the husband was like, well, you know, my wife, we're thinking about having kids. We know we can afford this, but we're going to cut that payment in half because this is what we can afford if she's not working. And it was just cool to see that other people are starting to think about that too.
Yeah.
And they don't have kids yet, but they're planning for what is this payment gonna look like when we do have kids? So it was kind of a breath of fresh air to see that people are thinking of that too.
That is really cool. I was gonna say I haven't heard anybody speak like that in a very were they old
No,
or
they were
young?
probably my age, like late 20s, early 30s maybe.
That's awesome. That makes me really happy to hear that because it's usually the opposite is what
Mhm.
you see. And, part of that to me is sad because I feel like it's not our parents' fault. Like, they could just live off of one income previously in other generations, and now you can't. And so it's like they don't even know to train us financially to think that way. And, then the whole, like, childcare situation, like, I have friends that pay more than their mortgage for their childcare. It's nuts
Yeah.
if you think about it. It's like, "Oh my gosh." And then you've got Trump, who the other day oh, God, he made me so mad. He's, like, increasing the war budget to whatever trillion dollars, and he's like, "The government can't worry about childcare." And I was like, banging my head against the wall, like, "Okay, but we can worry about just bombing girls' schools with your increased trillion-dollar budget," you know? Oh god. And so I just, like
And now to the politics
yeah,
section
it
of
just
the
but,
episode.
like, the whole point of it is we are in this economy where to live the lifestyle that most people wanna live, if you're gonna send your kids to private schools, and that's what most of us wanna do, like, at least in this state. There are a few good counties in this state that have good public schools, but for the most part, most people wanna go to private school now. Um, and I get it because they don't wanna deal with the public school crap, but, like, you almost have to have 2 incomes to do that, and so it's nearly impossible. I mean, unless you're one of the people is just absolutely killing it, it just seems like we're getting bombarded at every angle, and so to me, that's why the talking about it, I think people in the past could just be more flippant and be like, "Oh, well, we'll just work it out when we get there," but now I'm like, "You can't, or you're gonna be like me," like, with your back against the wall, and that's just kinda sad, so I'm very glad that you're talking about it, and I'm glad that your clients are talking about it, that's awesome. I'd be interested to know where that came from with that guy. If, his
Well,
mom told him or he just observed someone or what? That's
no,
interesting.
I don't know, but it was really cool. And it's it's neat what you said about the play date you had with Mac, and it's
Yeah,
their parents are watching the kids because when you look at history, like, that's the way they did it
right.
back in whatever day.
Mhm.
Um, their parents would watch the kids or they would all live together, and I remember your episode with I think it was Jordan Peterson's wife.
Oh, Tammy, yeah, she's
You
awesome.
She was talking about how it was, like, literally the village just raised all the kids, like,
Yeah.
they would homeschool and that all the ladies in the neighborhood would just help each other take care of the kids, and, like, why don't we bring that back? Like, a community of raising the kids together.
Communal
Like, it
living.
doesn't just have to be the husband and the wife. I mean, those are the 2 most important, but, like, if you have people in your life, friends or family, that can help you. I know some people don't, but if you do, I mean, that would be a great option. Nick's mom is dying for a she shed at some point. Like,
She
she
should.
would move in with us in a minute, so that's good to know that that would be an option.
It's funny that you say that because I think about that all the time. One of my favorite things that Jordan Peterson has ever talked about was how with a village, you have to, like, rely on your neighbors, and part of that is allowing other people to help you, which I'd never really thought about this before, but he said, "One of the best things you can do when you move into neighborhood is go over to your neighbor and say, 'Can I borrow a cup of sugar?'"
Mm,
And the reason why is because then the person feels like yes, I'm helping you. I'm happy to help you at something. And then they feel like then they can come to you and ask you for help too. And it becomes like a reciprocal relationship. And I've been thinking about this. I really need to do it. I haven't done it yet. There's a lot of old ladies that live in my neighborhood, and they're like so sweet. And they always talk to the kids. And like, we're always like, my kids are so annoying. They ride their bikes and scooters down the road, like, way ahead of me, and so I'm, like, trying to run to catch up to them, and my kids are, like, ringing their doorbells, like, 50 times. I'm like, "Guys, they have bad knees." Like, they're not gonna just sprint to the door, like, give them a second to get there, like, quit ringing it over and over again. But many times I've thought, "You know what? I should just ask one of them if they could come sit down here with Cooper for an hour while he takes his nap while so I can go get Mac from school."
Yeah.
Like, they would probably love that. And a lot of them, their grandkids, which this is sad to me, but it's the world we live in, their grandkids are in different cities, so they don't get to see them very often. And I'm like, they probably would enjoy I mean, Cooper's a hellion right now, but, if it's just an hour, it's not and then it's like, we're helping each other, you know? I bring you eggs.
Yep.
You watch my son. I don't know, but I feel like that kind of relationship with neighbors doesn't really exist anymore, and even with friends Anthony, do you have friends that you can just, like, drop your kids off at their house and vice versa frequently, or do you rely more on babysitters? Right. Okay. See okay, so that it's the same for me, like, I think when we were kids, we'd just go to the neighbor's house so that mom could, like, go do something real fast and vice versa, and I don't feel like that happens that much anymore, and I don't know why.
Well, I'm just even thinking about the neighborhood I live in. It's just like your standard
Yeah,
normal neighborhood, but I don't really talk to any of my neighbors. Like,
yeah,
we'll go to the neighborhood pool sometimes, but I don't remember the last time I went to my neighbors and was like, "Hey, can I borrow some sugar?"
yeah.
Um,
It's like what Jordan Peterson's saying, you
yeah.
know?
But it was funny. I was just at my mom's for Easter last weekend, and her neighbor called her, and she was like, "Hey, do you have any cheddar cheese?" And I was like, "Where is that? We should bring
Yes,
that back."
I know.
Because it's
Seriously. We in our neighborhood, we did, this is really nice, neighbors at the end of the street have the last 2 years hosted a neighborhood Easter egg hunt,
oh, fun.
and, a lot of our neighborhood is old people, and I love them, like, they're fantastic. But one of the old guys, this old doctor, Dr. Madigan, he's so sweet. He came up to me and he goes, "Well, I have to tell you something." I was like, "Oh god, what?" And he said, "I send my kids we have the eggs from the chickens, so I send them to the neighbor's house, and I've been wanting them to go do it without me because I just want them to get used to, like, talking to adults without me and interacting with people without me." And, he said, "My kids will come to the door and be like, 'Can we come in your house?' And they just invite themselves right in." And I'm like, "Oh god," I'm just cringing. And he's like, "They wanna, like, see my clock." They have this big grandfather clock, and then they're, like, slowly inching further and further, and he goes, "I think they're going towards the kitchen." Like, "Yeah, they're definitely trying to see what snacks you have up there."
Oh, man.
And then he told me he has his, office in the front of the house, and his favorite thing to do is sit in the office because he goes, "I never know what's going to be happening in your yard." I'm like, "Oh god." He's like, "Some days there's chickens flying around. Some days there's, like, Mac on the four-wheeler. Some days Cooper's hitting people with bats." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I know." But it's like we're slowly building relationships with these people that I feel like when I was growing up, everybody was just, like, close. And so I don't know why everyone's so siloed off in their homes now. I don't know if that's a result of social media or people not asking each other for help anymore.
I think it could be social media for one, but probably the after effects or the aftermath of COVID. Everyone, which I know COVID's so far back, like it was what, 5 years ago? But I think people just got so used to being homebodies, staying in their house.
Yeah,
You
that's a
don't have
good
to talk
point.
to anyone, just keep to yourself. Um, but yeah, I think it's weird that I don't really talk to my next door neighbors. They're the nicest people, but you almost feel like you're being a burden on them
Right.
if you ask for help or ask for something, or
Yeah.
you think they're gonna think you're weird.
Yeah.
But we should bring that back. 2026, let's talk to our neighbors, guys.
Yeah, and the whole thing that Jordan Peterson, his whole point was that people want to serve. Like, they feel good when they serve, and they're helping someone meet a need that they have. So, like, he was like, "You've gotta give them an opportunity to serve." I was thinking about it too. I'm so guilty of this, and I'm trying to quit. It's a really, really bad problem. I Instacart everything. Hate going to the grocery store, unless it's for meat or for fruits and veggies, but, like, to buy water bottles, like, ugh, I can't think of anything worse. So, I feel like I've partially siloed myself by taking on so much convenience. Like, I will pay for people to bring me something. I'm like, "Oh, it can be here in 38 minutes," or Amazon. So I don't ever have to go ask for something because I can get something so quick that I don't ever have to go ask for something. So it's like we think this convenience has made our life so good, but it's really just ruined so many things. Like I do now, since I'm feeling a little convicted about Instacart usage. Also with being like, what the hell? I have tried to be like, I'm gonna be back in the grocery store more. And it's good because it's like helping Cooper learn how to talk to adults and not be a total prick, you know? So I'm making him say please and thank you to people. And I'm like, if we were just sitting at home, he wouldn't be talking to anyone outside of me. It's good for him to talk to other people. But also, I've become friends with a butcher at Whole Foods.
Of course you have.
Yeah, he's really cool. He's like this big rock climber and stuff, and he's teaching me all about how you like butcher animals. So we have this big plan about when Luke will finally allow me to get a fence, I'm going to get a cow. And he said he'll come over and help me butcher the cow and all this stuff. And he's like, are you going to watch? And then I was telling him, oh, I told him this story about this is so terrible. I shouldn't even tell this on here because it's so bad. We had this chicken that
She goes right ahead.
got her leg like ripped off by, I assume, a hawk, but I don't know, some predator. So she was gonna die. She was like pitiful, just like laying there on the ground. And I go down, I look at her, and I'm like, I gotta kill her. I couldn't do it. So I leave. And I go watch all these YouTube videos about how to kill a chicken the most humane way.
Gotta cut its
The
head off,
story's
right?
gonna go. You might have to edit this out. So for hours, instead of just going down and killing the chicken, I just like antagonize about it. Finally, I go down to kill the chicken, and it's been sitting there in pain for hours. And I was like, I'm just gonna wring its neck. This guy acts like it like snaps their neck immediately. And I didn't kill it on the first snap.
Oh, no.
I didn't wring it hard enough. And so it was
Torturing this
I was
chicken.
crying. And the chicken's like, and its legs hanging off. It was horrible. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. No, I'm gonna cry because of the chicken. But yeah, Christy Nome just shot her dog point blank in the face.
Yeah, in a hole.
Yeah, well, mine was like going to die. It was like bleeding out slowly. And I did the least humane thing you could do by letting it sit there. And then I don't know why, but like I had watched all these videos that were like you lay it down and then you put a broomstick over its neck and then you just step on it and that snaps it. But to me, that just seemed like meaner than just wringing their neck. But chickens are heavier than you think. And so you got to wring them harder than you think. And
Oh, man.
I didn't know that.
Oh, only that would happen to you, Liz.
Yeah. What were we talking about? You
made-
got to cut this
You made
out.
friends.
God.
You made friends with the butcher.
Oh, yeah. My whole point was in this. I tell the butcher this like horribly embarrassing story, and he's like, oh, we've all been there. Like, the first time I butchered an animal, he's like, my knife wasn't sharp enough. And so he's like, then I learned like you have to have a really sharp knife, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, okay, like I'm not like the worst, meanest, horrible human on earth. But my point in all of that was Cooper and I are friends with the guy at the grocery store,
Yeah.
and I feel like that used to be more common, and people used to see familiar faces that weren't necessarily friends with them, but they were, like, good acquaintances and stuff like that, and, like, now, I'm like, I don't even, like, go to the post office anymore. It's not like you, like, know your mailman anymore because there's so many Amazon drivers and all these people, like, it's not the same person every day, and I don't know, I think it's just very quickly torn the village apart. We've traded the convenience for the relationships, and
Yeah.
that's sad to me, and I think that a lot of moms, if they had more help from the village, it's not gonna solve the childcare problem because obviously you need a lot, but it would take the stress off if you weren't having to pay $20 an hour for a babysitter every time you need somebody just for, like, 1 hour when it could be, like, you and your neighbor helping each other out, if that makes sense
Yeah.
at all.
That makes perfect sense.
Are any of your friends having kids yet? Or anyone around you?
Yes. Yes. I mean, the most obvious person is my sister just because she's the closest with me.
Yeah.
Um, so but I'm 27, so there's definitely some friends with kids. Um, a lot of people are waiting a little bit older to have kids nowadays, but the closest person would be my sister. Shout out Casey.
So, does she have a village?
She does. So her husband, his mom lives right across the street. So she comes over 4 or 5 times a week and we'll help watch Lily while she's working. So she's going through that first season of having a kid where you're just trying to survive. It's the first year, not getting a lot of sleep. So I think it would be tough without her husband's mom right across the street. But my mom still comes in town, you know, maybe every other weekend or once a month. I'll come help her, not as much as I should, but I do try and, come help when I can. So she would probably love if there were more people. But I think for the first stage, I mean, it's hard to speak for her because I'm sure she'd probably love a little bit more, but I think she seems to be in a good spot, and it's some days are good, some days are hard, but she's figuring it out, and she's gotta give you a shout out, Casey, because 'cause you're killing it, and I don't know how she's doing it, but she's an amazing mom. Um, but watching her walk through this season of motherhood has been pretty eye-opening. Um, Definitely taking a lot of pointers from her, but I mean, I won't sugarcoat it, it's hard. It's it's not rainbows and the easiest thing ever,
Really hard.
it's hard work, but she seems to be I don't wanna use the word handling it because I don't think that's the right word, but
Surviving.
she seems to be surviving.
Surviving is what I used to say.
Yes.
I'd be like, I'm, like, either underwater with my hands up or, like, barely above water and
Yeah.
then back under again. That's good. It's really good, I think, if you have someone that's super close to you that can show you the ugly.
Mhm.
I remember when my friends Juliet, we weren't even that close, but had just had her baby not that long before I was gonna have Mac, and I don't know if I asked her, I probably did because 'cause I'm such a weirdo, or she just said, like, "Come in here," or whatever, but she was breastfeeding and just was like and she's like, "This is so hard, I'm so tired." And I remember being, like, kinda shocked and like, "Oh my gosh," but then also so appreciative that she would, like, allow me to see, like, what she was struggling with and dealing with because I knew I was gonna be there, like, a couple months after her, and so I think that if you have people that show you the ugly parts of their life in motherhood, well, in every part of life, but especially in motherhood, it makes you not feel so alone when it gets really ugly, because it does for everybody, and so then when you are feeling like, "Oh my god, nothing's going according to whatever plan I had," if I had a plan, I didn't have one, but you've got way more of one than I did. You just don't feel like you are so alone in like, you don't feel like am I the only one that can't figure this out? Am I the only one that's failing? So it's nice to have sisters that are around you because then also, like, a lot of things that my sisters and I talk about is and this is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about because they just don't have time to worry about it once they have little kids, but, like, your hormones are so out of whack. So even if you completely, like, remove the kids from the equation of, like, all the issues that you don't feel like yourself for so long because you're, like, crazy. And it's hard to step like, when you get in these rages or you're, like, super sad or depressed or whatever, it's hard to remove yourself from it and be like, "I know it's just the hormones," because they're, like, consume you, and so when you have those kind of moments, if you've seen it in other people before, you know, like, "Okay, this is gonna go away. It's gonna be a year of hell because my body's readjusting to new normal, my body's readjusting to no sleep, like, I've gotta learn how to be a zombie," which sucks, but, I mean, I've been 5 years in and I'm still zombie mode, so I don't know if it ever ends, but, like, uh, it's good to see that in other people because it does show you that there's, like, light at the end of the tunnel and that it's not just you. And I think that, like, the first time once you become a mom, you start hanging out with other moms, and if you can be the person with the other mom that, like, shows the ugly first, it, like, breaks down all the walls, and then you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, thank God." Like, I can just relax now because for so long, I remember feeling like I was around all these moms that I wasn't really that close of friends with because I had just moved back to Knoxville, so, like, I hadn't been around all these people at all, and I just remember thinking like, "Oh my gosh, their kids are in these, like, perfectly smocked outfits, and they're in their matching Lulu set, and, like, my teeth haven't been brushed in 3 days, like, what is wrong with me?" And so if you have one that just, like, allows you to see, like, it's not all perfect, like we try to make it to be on Instagram or whatever, then it's much easier that way. So if you can find mom friends like that, stick with them, even if they're nuts. Like,
Got it.
they're much better than the ones that have it all together, I think.
Words of wisdom.
Okay. Next thing I wanna talk about, and I haven't oh, by the way, shout out to Taylor. Not many people will ever let me interview them with not sending questions ahead of time and just ask whatever I want.
I came in here, I was like, "Liz, you didn't send me any
I
questions, so I
didn't.
guess we're winging it
There's
today."
not many people that are cool enough to do that. Most people are like, "I need to know." But we can edit it out. Well, we gotta edit the chicken stuff out. God. Can't believe- So, I wanna talk about weddings.
Oh, okay.
I think that weddings are out of control now. And I'm just talking about, like, my friends and people that I've been around. So my first wedding, out of control. I think it's like a Southern thing, maybe, or maybe it's just everywhere now. I don't know. Maybe that's just how social media has made it. But it seems like everyone has to have like a Pinterest wedding, and there has to be like 15 parties leading up to the wedding, and you got to get them like 8 gifts, and you got to fly all these places, and like all this stuff. And I remember thinking after my first wedding, like, we planned for all this time. There were so many little details that we had to take care of and worry about that no one gave a crap about. It's like, why did I, were people asking me what color shade of blush the ink needed to be on the invitations when they just threw them in the trash? You know, like why did I even waste 10 seconds thinking about that? Like I should have just said pink. Whatever shows up, you know? Like I don't know. It's after the wedding, I feel like you're almost let down in a way because there's been like such this build up to this event that has taken so much time and money and attention. Have you felt that pressure in planning your wedding?
Yes. So I would say I wouldn't consider my wedding will be a Pinterest wedding. It's gonna be really pretty. I mean,
Mhm.
it's expensive.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say that I've just cut cost everywhere. I have cut costs in some places, but it'll be really pretty, but it's not like I just remember getting photography quotes and it was like, this will be 10 to 12,000. I'm like,
Oh,
whoa, oh my
yeah.
goodness, this is wild. And there's just like, a lot I don't really care about the food that much. I want everyone to be fed, but I don't care if it's a steak or nice chicken dinner. Like, we're having barbecue at my wedding, and I'm
Mhm.
so excited about it.
That's great.
And I don't really care about the decorations that much. I have some family that does, and they're decorating. So I'm
Let them
like,
do
"You
it,
guys
yeah.
handle that. I don't wanna do decorations." But, like, every wedding I've been to, I don't remember the food. I don't remember the votifs or the linens. Like, I remember having a good time.
Mhm.
And that's really just what I want my wedding to be. I want everyone to have a good time. Um, so I've probably spent the most money on, like, the bar and the DJ
Yeah, that's smart.
because that's just what I want everyone to have a good time and, like, really put some thought into the playlist. So but I haven't really put thought into, like, the food or decorations or anything else like that just because it's not my top priority. But I think with social media and Pinterest, all over social media, at least for my algorithm right now, is I'm a 2026 bride, I'm a 2027 bride, and this is the 5 things that are non-negotiable for my wedding.
Mm.
And you just see all of this stuff on social media and you think you have to do that. But there's also a lot of helpful videos that are like, these are 10 things I did at my wedding that I didn't give a crap about, like
Mhm.
and it's just you start to realize you're not gonna remember this 10, 20 years from now, like, you're gonna remember the good time you had and celebrating with your family, so, I've cut costs in the places that I just don't really care about, but
That's good. Do you feel like your family is putting pressure on you or his family to, like, have it be some big grand event, or have they been pretty chill?
no, not really. Um, no, our families are pretty chill. They I think I've maybe even just because growing up, you go to weddings and you fantasize about having your dream wedding.
Mhm.
So I've maybe even put a little bit more pressure on myself to have the grand wedding, but now getting into the thick of planning and the wedding's 2 months away, I just don't care if it's grand. I just
Good,
wanna have a good time. So
good.
no, they haven't put pressure on us at all, I don't think.
That's really good. I
Did you
think
feel pressure on your
on my
first
first oh my gosh, yes. First wedding, yes. Everyone had an opinion about everything, and it was this big to do. Clearly, we should have put a little bit more emphasis on the marriage than the wedding because that didn't work out. But that is one thing I wanted to talk about. So, we actually did marriage counseling, but we did it with a music minister. I don't know why.
Okay.
It doesn't seem wise now looking back. But he gave us a book, and I remember, like, we went in, and he's, like, flipping through the book, and there's a chapter, he's like, "Sex, good. Finances, good." He's like, "I think you guys are good." And, like, it was, like, maybe 3 hours total, like, not very extensive at all, and it was just, like I think his assumption was, like, we both came from Christian families, so we thought we had, like, similar values and, upbringings that were similar and all that, and he knew we went to church together, he thought we were, like, being responsible and all that, so he just assumed, like, everything's good, we're on the same page, and I look back at that now, and I'm like, "Why didn't he ask us about, like, what do you want your life to look like in 5 to 10 years?" Like, isn't part of, like, when older people counsel younger people, like, actually getting into those questions that you're not necessarily thinking about in the time, but it is gonna come up in the future, and I feel like maybe that was just specific to me, but that a lot of people don't really do marriage counseling anymore. Have you guys done any of that?
We will, coming our minister is gonna do some marriage counseling with us, but I feel like we've been pretty good about talking about what we want the future to look like
Mhm.
how are we gonna raise our kids? How are we gonna grow in our faith? What do we want our finances to look like? Are we gonna build a house one day? Like, just the future stuff that you don't typically talk about. I feel like we've done well with that, and one thing I've just recently started doing that I love is anytime I'm around married people, I'm like, "Give me one piece of marriage advice."
That's
Like, just
good.
give me advice, because number 1, people love giving advice, and number 2, it's just good to hear all the different types of stories and hear some helpful tips, and really just the people that tell you, like, it's not just happy-go-lucky every single day. There's
Right.
gonna be a lot of hard times, and if you can learn to appreciate the hard times and know how to get through them, and giving practical tools. Um, I heard one really good piece of advice at my bridal shower. I asked this lady, "What's a good piece of marriage advice?" And she was like, "I keep this little turquoise journal, and every time my husband does something that I love or something nice, I'll write it down. And I've got all these things that I love about him. And then on the days that I want to strangle him, I'll go back and open my little turquoise journal, and it reminds me of this is who I married. I'm just mad at him in this moment right now." But that was just such a good little
That's
token of
great.
advice. So
What
we're
other good ones have you heard?
we were just at dinner with me, you, and Luke, and Zach, and Tori,
Oh, yeah.
and Alyssa, and
Uh-huh.
I asked you guys this question as well.
I can't even remember what
And
we all said. What did we say?
Luke said to say "I love you" often,
He does that.
and I love that. Um, I remember Zach said to appreciate the mundane times because you're
Mhm.
gonna have a lot of fun vacations and fun milestones and beautiful moments, but a lot of marriage is like you're sitting on the couch watching a show or like you're just bored, but you can appreciate being bored together.
Mhm.
And the person you're gonna marry, you're gonna have a lot of those mundane times in your life.
Yes.
And if you can learn to appreciate those, then you'll appreciate the fun, happy moments even more.
Mhm.
I thought that was good,
Alyssa said something good. What did she say?
that you're a team.
Yes, that was a good
That
one.
you're a team,
Mhm.
which is a good one. I think you might have said this actually. You said, "Don't talk about your spouse. Don't talk about you and your spouse's problems with other people,"
Yeah, I've had
which
to learn that the hard way.
that's a really easy one because when you're out with the girls, it's just natural to talk about what's going on in your life or
Mhm.
gossip, and you go to confide in these people because you're telling, "Hey, here's the problem I'm having." But it's almost disrespectful to your spouse because you should really be having that conversation with your spouse. And,
Yeah.
like, I've done it, like, sometimes I'll wanna tell my mom or Casey, like, "Hey, this is what's going on," but it's really not their business, even though they're my best friends. Um, but I feel like that was a good one just because it would be disrespectful to Nick, and if Nick was talking about me with his brothers or his mom, like, I would feel that would be weird for me.
Mhm.
So, that was a I think you said that, and that was a good takeaway that I
Yeah,
had.
and it's specifically on that, what I've done wrong so many times is because I'm so close to my sisters and my mom, like, my sisters are my best friends, I've told them way too much stuff that I shouldn't have told them because sisters never forget, you know?
Mhm.
And so it's just kinda like, strike, 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 and, like, I will move on the next day and not think again
But
about
they
what
don't.
happened, but they don't, and so and same with them to me, like, because I got a running strike list in my head. So I think that, like, you just have to be careful in what you tell your family and your close friends because, they are so protective of you, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's how they're supposed to be. So it's, natural to wanna tell them everything because you love them and they're close and you can just vent and stuff like that, but it's better if you can show restraint, especially, like, if it's just something little and petty, like, you say it so flippantly, but they remember it, you know,
Yeah.
because 'Cause I'm that way, petty. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, one other one, an older lady told me this the other day, and I've tried to do it more recently, and I think it's really good. She told me that when I'm with my kids, I need to tell them all the time, like, "You're really lucky that your daddy works so hard so that we can do this. Like, we are so blessed to have somebody that allows us to, like, go to the Muse on a Tuesday or whatever, and so I have started doing that stuff to my kids, and sometimes it's like, I can be so annoyed with Luke over, like, how the morning went or whatever because 'cause we're such jerks in the morning, but then, like, by 10 o'clock, if I'm saying to Cooper, like, "Hey, you got a good dad. He gave us the credit card so we can go do what we want right now," and it makes me, like, appreciate him and get over whatever, like, I was annoyed by in the
Yeah,
morning, and so
that's
I'm
good.
like, I thought that that was a really nice thing, but it models to your kids, like, your dad's not just going away all day long, like, for nothing, like, he's going away to do this so that you are taken care of and you have a good childhood and you are provided for, and so I was like, That's, like, something really important to show and model to your kids so that when they're looking for a mate one day, they know, like, I need someone that I can appreciate, that I could, like, be proud of for my kids and stuff like that, and so I don't know, I just thought that that was a really good way, and then it makes you also, like, verbalize something like the lady was saying with the turquoise book, something good
Mhm.
about them so
Yeah.
that when, like, it balances out the negative things, but I think it's really important to, like, say it and show that to your kids. So
Yeah.
I
I
thought that
love
was a
that.
really good one. I'm trying to think of other good ones people have told me over the years.
I think you also said you wanted to work on being more feminine,
Oh, yeah, golly.
which is hard in this industry
So hard.
because you're in a male-dominated industry.
That's
You're
how it
used to,
is.
like, male bankers, like, I'm used to male bankers. It's you don't really
And
see
we're rough
women.
because 'cause we're in, like, stressful situations. People buying
Yes.
houses is the most expensive purchase of most people's lives, so it's people like, tensions run high, and we just are rough.
And one of the hardest things to do is to not take your work home, which is a weird sentence because my work is always at home because with what we do, really anything in sales, you're working 24/7. So you're working at the office, you're working at home, but not necessarily home being like a physical thing. But when I'm with Nick or anyone in my family, I have to learn how to separate. This client called me, they're stressed out, now I'm stressed out, now I have to cut that off because I'm having dinner with Nick, and I don't wanna, you know, be a lousy person to be around because 'cause I'm in a bad mood, so it's hard too just being a woman because naturally we're emotional beings, and it's hard to cut that off.
Mhm.
So, I've had to even work on it too, cutting off the work stress and then trying to go over here and be happy-go-lucky Tay. Which sometimes you just have to force yourself to do it. It's not easy, but I mean, I wouldn't want Nick to come home and just be in a terrible mood and take everything out on me, so he wouldn't want me to do that to him.
Yeah, it's hard. I, did some marriage coaching with this lady named Suzanne Venker. I love her. Her stuff is incredible. If you ever wanna listen to her, she's got a great podcast, and she's written a ton of books, but, one of the things that she talked about was, I think we, in our culture, think that feminine is, like, we're wearing dresses and we have makeup on and our hair is curly, but she was talking about, it's really more the way that you, like, interact and present yourself, and so this was so like, I thought it was so dumb at the time. We were, like, doing role playing, and she was like she would say something that, like, Luke would say when he walked in the door, and I would give my response, and she'd be like, "Now say it with, like, a softer or higher voice," and I'd be like, "Oh my god," like, I sound like a stupid cheerleader, like, I can't handle this, but it's funny because Luke all the time says to me, he's like, "It's not what you said, it's, like, the way you said it, your tone," and he'll say to me all the time, like, he'll be like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Fine." He's like, "Try that again." And I'm like, "Fine." He's like, much better, and, I think she's right, like, when he walks in the door, he doesn't wanna be greeted by a dude,
Yeah.
and if I it's not what I'm saying, it's the way that I'm saying it, and so I've tried to make an effort to be, like, kinder and softer in the way that I speak to him, but really that also translates to my kids, like and they're the ones who probably get the worst of it because when they, like, push you to your limit, you're just like, "God, shut up." And it's better they respond better if you're, like, speaking softer and calmer with them. I saw this Instagram reel the other day that was like one of the hardest things about parenting is trying not to lose your shit on your kid while they're losing their shit because you're trying to teach them how to not lose their shit. I was like, it's so true because your kid's like having a total meltdown and then you're like about to have a meltdown and it's so hard not to, but it's like it does calm them down if you are speaking in a calm tone, not yelling. Like I'm a yelling mom. I hate it. I'm a yelling mom. I'm like, I've got to stop the yelling. I just can't. So I've tried to like tone it down. And there I will never be like a therapy speak person, like, tell me about your feelings. But I've instead of being like, shut the fuck up, I'm like, could you please be quiet? You know?
I'm really proud of you, Liz.
I'm
I know that's
trying.
hard.
I'm trying really hard. Like, the mortgage banker in me comes out sometimes. I'm like, "God, I'm a sailor. I can't stop." But I have gotten better a little. And then you have another kid.
Yeah,
And then it
and then it
just
starts all
piles
over.
on.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the tone thing is really important, I think, and I'm trying to work on that. And also, like Luke, he doesn't know how to say this to me. He's been trying to say it to me for so many years, and I finally figured out what he meant. Is when he comes home, he would always say, like, "Oh, if you're a stay-at-home mom, I wanna come home to, like, a cheese and charcuterie board and a glass of wine, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "In your dreams, pal. Like, I've been with the kids all day. Like, it is chaos in here." But what he means is he's been, like, fighting in a courtroom all day long. He wants to come home to a place that's, like, peaceful and safe,
Yeah.
like a sanctuary, I think is kind of what they think of. And so when he gets home, instead of me just being like, "Fine, yeah, whatever," and, like, having it be total chaos, I try to now, like, sort of have the kitchen clean when he gets home and not just crap all over the place, and I try to have, like, a nice-ish dinner made so that when he's home, it's not like walking into the door to, like, a second form of war that's even worse than the one he was just in. Um, and I think that that is important to men. Like, they don't know how to say that, but if they're exhausted from being at work all day, and what's even hard about that is that when you're working all day too, and then you come home and you're like, "God, I'm so tired too. I don't wanna do that." It's hard not to, like, use the really mean tone with them, you know?
Mhm. Absolutely.
So, I don't know. That's a that one's taken me, like, 5 years to figure out. I thought it was all about the cheese board. I
Just a
was like,
metaphor.
"He just wants nicer cheese." No, he didn't care about the cheese at all. He just wants it to, like, not be absolute chaos and mean when he gets home. So, I don't know.
Well, it's been really cool to watch you walk through motherhood,
Ugh,
up
it's
to
a
3 kids
disaster.
now. But you are you are a person in my life who, just like you said, you laid it all out and you've shown the good, bad, and the ugly. And that's just really your personality. You don't really
Yeah.
sugarcoat anything. So I feel like just watching you has helped me prepare for what that's going to be like.
I hope maybe a little bit. Hopefully, you'll learn what not to do and not, like, make all the same mistakes I've made. Um, but I think you guys are on a really good track. It's, like, good that you're talking about these things. Really good.
Thank you.
Okay. Any final comments?
Any final comments? Let's talk to our neighbors, guys.
It's good. Good one.
Don't talk about your spouse to your neighbors, though.
Yep.
um, but no, thank you so much for having me. This was a cool full circle moment to be on the podcast 3 years ago and me in a dating season or trying to find my spouse season, and now getting married in 2 months, talking about what the future is going to look like with kids. It's just it's kind of amazing, but it's
fun.
it's fun.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
The best is yet to come, and the ugliest.
And
Alright.
scene.